I don't know how you bill yourself, but you're a director at least as much as you are an actor in terms of
More so.
more so.
Mm-hmm.
As a director, do you find when you are acting only, it's a strength to have that directing experience? Do you find it frustrating sometimes being directed by another director? Like, this person doesn't know what they're doing, or why am I doing this? How do you find it affects your experience as an actor?
I'd like to think that overall it's a positive thing. I'm very selective about who I work with, who I would want to collaborate with as an actor, what directors I would like to collaborate with. So if I've made the choice to work with somebody, then I already trust them. And so it's not a challenge for me to plug in and, try to be a part of realizing whatever that vision is that they've got. Try to obviously still bring ideas to the table actively, and but not necessarily push for them aggressively or something like that. I don't know that that's very different from how I direct, though. When I direct, I bring ideas to the table, I bring ideas to the rehearsal room, but it's not that my idea is necessarily the best idea, and I'm not necessarily pushing my own ideas. It's more that there's a pool of ideas in the room, and it's my job to figure out what the best one is, regardless of where it comes from.
Right.
I think that perhaps the negative side of it, I don't know. I don't know the answer to this. This is just speculation. It's something I wonder about, whether I give over to the director a little too much, even as an actor, because I am so well aware of the challenges that a director faces and all that they've got on their plate, everything that they're trying to make happen. I'm inclined to really go along with whatever they're wanting to do.
Right.
I would like to think that that's a good thing, and that I'm not sort of dampening any sort of creative impulses that might actually contribute to the process, any sort of possible mini conflict that might actually generate a good idea.
Right.
That's all speculation, though. I wonder about that, though. I do wonder about that.
I hereby grant you the privileges of pushing back when it feels right on character stuff,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I necessarily do that, but
yeah.
And if I do push back, then it's always going to be respectfully, and it's always going to be with that understanding that I just talked about, the understanding of how much you've got going on.
Yeah.
Whatever director has got going on, that I'm not going to try to make it about me and this particular thing that I'm going to cling to so hard that the whole process stops, or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I
go bullshit.
I fully know you're not going to have to have your star moment and like I need to blow the smoke this way because it'll be cooler on the poster. But once I mean, my feeling is once I kind of hand over a character to an actor, it's my ultimate responsibility knowing how they fit in the story and how the scenes need to function in terms of storytelling. But I want actors to feel like they own that character, that Robert De Niro owns Travis Bickle just as much as Paul Schrader, who wrote him, or Martin Scorsese, who directed him. That and if there's things I would ask you to do, or any actor to do, that they don't understand why, or they don't understand how to get to that place in their understanding of the character, they don't need to say, Nathan, you're wrong, this could never happen, but I don't understand why, rather than, all right, I'll try it. Sure, because if you don't know, my sense is if you don't know why you're doing something, it's not going to be very the audience isn't going to know why either, even though I may have a reason. But yeah, I the few times I've acted for other directors, and I do occasionally in a very moonlighting way.
Mm-hmm.
I am incredibly sympathetic because their job is so hard that
It is.
I just like, oh, whatever silly thing you want me to do, I'll definitely do. And
Ideally, every actor should go through it at least once, or at least
yeah,
take a class or something in directing, just to get a sense of what it's like. You know?
yeah. I mean, take a
For the same reason that every director should take an acting class, should study acting to understand what the acting process is like. It's it's a two-way street.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's underdone by some of my fellow directors, to go through that. I think both in a class format and also just to be on set and be an actor and see what's frustrating and what's not, and go through that experience. It's going to make you better. But well, have you directed other directors at any point? People who are, principally directors?
I don't think so. Wow. I don't know. I've definitely worked with people who have directed, but I don't know that I've ever directed somebody who's primarily a director.
Right.
Probably not, actually. Yeah.
Well, I refer to you sometimes as my Orson Welles in the movie because you're the Harry Lime, who's who's going to get credit for
poking him in the face like that with your thumb.
To get credit for how good your scenes are. People say like, "Oh, Paul directed those scenes." Nathan. I don't know if you've heard the legends of when Orson acts for people. He often
when he does what?
When Welles acted for other directors, at times he is often attributed credit for directing his scenes or writing his scenes.
Oh, I see.
Which
I didn't know that.
May be true. And if the movie's great, and anyone can have any kind of credit they want if the movie turns out well.
Okay.
Well, I've only directed you in kind of rehearsals and auditions and things. But this might be putting you on the spot a little bit, and we can edit this, but do you find you have a sense of my style of directing in terms of communicating to actors? Do you have thoughts, notes?
I don't have notes. I like the way you work. And I wouldn't, I don't have any sort of suggestions for anything to change. So put that pen away.
Just all right. No notes.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think that what you've been saying is exactly how I felt about the experience. In other words, I felt like you are just trying to create a space where something honest can happen. You say very little, but you say what needs to be said, and then you sort of get out of the way and see what happens. And it feels like a very thoughtful, I don't want to say methodical, but sort of patient, like a patient approach, which I really respect and appreciate.
And I say that not to fish for praise. I thank you.
Well done.
But I'm genuinely interested, because one thing I think I especially don't get to do enough, and a lot of directors don't get to do enough, is watch other directors work, either on stage or in film, and see what people are doing. And I went to school, and I have some conceptual, theoretical understanding of things, but most of my process is just what has worked over the years. And I'm always interested in how other people work, and if they are able to, techniques or approaches or things they're doing more of than I do that I don't do enough of, things like that. So I don't say that with dissatisfaction with my work at all, but I think as an artist, you have to want to keep getting better, or
Hmm.
You get worse, I believe. We'll find out.
Yeah, well, you turn into a hack. You're just repeating yourself, and
Yeah,
doing the same old thing, and we're that just gets boring. So obviously, if you as an artist, in terms of your entire the sort of arc of your career, want to continue to grow and continue to be inspired by new ideas, so that you can bring that to your work. Otherwise, the work starts to get stale, I would think.
yeah,
I wouldn't know because I'm a conscientious artist who tries to grow consistently, and through my work, and through working with new people. That's a big part of it.
yeah.
Like I said, I'm pretty cautious about it, but when it feels right, I definitely go after it. So I'm really excited about working with you, and I mentioned this to you and Connor in an email that I wrote a while ago, that I'm actually coming at this looking forward to learning from the process, from working with both of you and with Carol and with Mark and everybody else involved, because I don't have a lot of experience working on film, but I really love the process and hope to do a lot more of it in the future. So I'm coming at this with open eyes and with a lot of curiosity to see what I can learn from you all.
Well, that's cool. I'm sure we will all have lots to learn from each other.
I hope, ideally, yeah.
Yeah. You always, at the end of a movie, at that point how to make it, and you wish it could be day one instead of
Yeah, right.
the end day. Like, oh man, if I could just start now, this thing would be twice as good. But
Does that ever get done in film, like the equivalent of a workshop production of a film? Like, do you ever make like some sort of short version to try it out? Because that's done in theater all the time, but
yeah,
the costs are different.
right. I mean, even a short can be very expensive and very time consuming. I've had shorts that have taken me months to make. But people do, and I think in more of a fundraising sense, they'll make a short in order to raise interest in a feature. Kurosawa used to stage his entire movies as plays before filming. He would have the entire cast perform it live in one go in front of the crew, and he would do some kind of basic blocking. I don't think it was incredibly refined and precise, but to see how the story played out, which I don't, no one else as far as I know does. And
I read that the Marx Brothers used to do that.
Well, but those were vaudeville routines that they.
Well, but that they would, they would try these things out, these routines out, that they were going to use in their next film. They would do them live, and they would time the audience, the laughter.
Yeah.
So that they could build in pauses into when they shot the thing, so that when the audience is watching it in the movie theater, they're not missing the next joke. They build in enough laughter time.
That's very smart. If I did a comedy, that sounds good. I don't have the confidence to do a comedy though at this point.
And you're not Groucho Marx. I hate to tell you that.
No, I don't mean perform. I forget who Leo McCarey directed a few of their films.
I don't know.
But yeah, I wish there was a cheap way to do it with a movie, but there really isn't, and I don't share this sense to give anyone apprehension about it. I think if you're really prepared and you've done some of the mental workshopping and you've rehearsed, then you're not sacrificing that much. But every day has unexpected challenges.
Well, and I think that speaks to one of the big differences between the theater process and the film process, in that the costs involved and just the nature of filmmaking requires it to be this one-time and go kind of thing, which is kind of exciting,
Right.
It's just keep moving forward, and the clock is ticking, and every day is costing money and all this, whereas in theater, we could talk.
Yeah, and you can improve things between opening night and the next night.
Oh yeah, no, of course. In fact, you should. I rail on this regularly to anybody who still listens. That a theater production should absolutely be better by closing night than when it opens, and if not, you're probably not trying. You're probably just going through the motions. Because really, as an artist, what's that?
Unless it's Cats or something that runs for 20 years.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, that's a different. I'm not talking about commercial theater. That's a different thing.
Right.
I'm talking about different artistic goals.
Yeah. But for the record, anyone watching, Paul does not direct Cats. You're not a Weber.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But look, man, if somebody makes me an offer and I can do Cats and then direct whatever I want for the next 10 years, then sign me up.
Please do it.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank. What were we gonna? Oh, there is kind of a weird feeling I have the first day of a shoot when, I wrote this movie by the time we shoot a year earlier, and these scenes have been in my head and these characters have been in my head, and we've been fundraising and building and casting and things, and you shoot the first scene and you're like, okay, we got it, and you're like, we're never going to do that again. Like that moment in the story that I've been building up to for a year, in an hour is just moving on. Like that moment is I don't know. It's a strange feeling, and once you get in the rhythm of production, it's just normal. And you kind of watch big famous moments in movie history, and they might have been take 2, and they did 4 takes, and then they're gone, and it didn't feel special at the time to anyone. Mm-hmm. So it is a strange process. Mm-hmm. And some people do tons of reshoots, and you kind of there's a range of the experiences. At our budget level, we can't. So the magic happens, or something almost magical happens, and we move on.